Welcome back to Figure It Out. I am so excited today because today we are going to be opening NECA's new version of the ultimate battle damaged Robocop with chair. Well, I'm not sure when you last watched the 1987 Robocop starring Peter Weller, directed by Paul Verhoeven. Absolutely a fantastic movie, a cult classic, one that I enjoyed so very much when it came out. And NECA has decided to go ahead and put out this new, I guess, action figure. Call it a playset if you will, but basically it is the Robocop figure and he's battle damaged, and there is his repair chair that you see in the movie. Loved the movie when it came out and was super excited to get a look at what this could be. I've been wanting a Robocop figure for quite some time, and when this one was coming out, I had to get it. So let's just take a look. As we look at the box itself, we can see there in the window, we see the Robocop figure, we see the extra head, the Peter Weller face sculpt, we see the battle damage repair chair that he's got. What's cool about this packaging though is it's all as if it was coming from OCP or Omni Consumer Products, which is kind of a neat deal. Like, it doesn't really identify that this is the battle damaged Robocop. It just simply has the Robocop, call it logo on the side. On the back it is simply pose art with the figure itself, so we can see some of the things that NECA has done to put this in position. Really some cool poses on the back, so very excited to get this thing out of the box. So let's pull it out and see what we got. I think this figure is actually quite representative of what Robocop looks like in the movie, especially toward the end of the movie when he does have this battle damage. You can see this little scar piece here is definitely something that is reflected in the movie. I think they did a great job on that. They did a great job on this facial sculpt. This Peter Weller mouth here looks a lot like him. You can see some of the other details in the uniform, you know, what Robocop looks like. I think all these little oil drips, these places where the battle damage has taken place and he is now losing oil. It looks really good. One of the neat things about this particular one is the pistons that are along the Achilles. They absolutely do work, and so as you are moving his feet up and down, you can see that piston moves. So that looks really cool and up close. The articulation is not that great, but here's the thing. In the movie, he could not move that well, so he definitely can move his arms to a 90-degree. Let me go and put one in position here so you can see. They move to about 90 degrees, that's it, but that is fairly realistic to the movie. They've got these joints here where it's just going to move out about that far, so he doesn't have a lot of arm spread, but he does have full rotation, so 90 degrees on the elbow, a little bit of movement back and forth on the arm, and then of course full rotation. Head fully rotates. He does have some rotation in the torso. So as we pull this back, you can see he does have this rotation here. The legs, again, similar to the movie, they only bend to about 90 degrees, that's it. And there is no toe joint. So as far as joints are concerned, Robocop is not very articulated. However, once again, I go to what he was like in the movie. There was not a lot of articulation or his ability to move around from there. The legs can move out just a little bit and move in just a little bit, and they do have full rotation, although when we get them to this degree, it is rather oddly looking, so we're never going to pose them like that. Yeah, all that is to say is that even though he doesn't move around a ton or doesn't have that kind of mobility, it 100% does match what's in the movie. He sort of lumbers throughout the movie. He does not run very fast typically, and he rides his motorcycle, gets off and confronts the bad guys, and that's about it. But all the little mini details on here looks really great. So they give us another face sculpt. And this is the one of the actor Peter Weller himself. So let's get this into focus for a minute because I think this looks exceptionally good. So if you take a look at this, I always thought it was just weird and uncomfortable seeing this in the movie with his skin stretched up and kind of meeting these robotic parts. But they've done a great job of sculpting this face. A little bit of some paint issues on my particular one. I don't know if that's the same for all of them. Just a little bit of overpaint in some places, but for the most part, this, I mean, just that right there, you put it side by side with the source material and it looks just fantastic. So not only does it come with this additional head, but also he comes with an additional hand, and this is the one with the computer spike on it where he can push this into one of the computer consoles and download information. It does come with this pistol here, which looks about right. It's a very flat paint, so there's nothing else on it. It doesn't have any kind of metallic look to it. But it does come with this muzzle flash, which if we go ahead and attach it, we can see it's kind of unique comparative to some of the other muzzle flashes I've seen for these figures with this spread on it. But when we have it on and are putting it in a posed position, quite honestly, it looks pretty good. I really do like this muzzle flash also. Kind of helps you know where you're aiming in the long run. But anyway, I feel like that as far as the figure goes, it is really well done. Now, on the other Ultimate version, they did have this spring-loaded leg piece. This does not, and so there's no place to really holster the gun, so he's either gonna hold it or it's going to be put aside or back in the packaging because there's really not a space for it. It does not have the leg holster, but I mean, look at that. That thing is so cool. The heft of this is super solid. Like, this is a reasonably heavy figure. You can really tell that it's a lot of solid plastic, and even though there's not a ton of movement, it does seem to match what we saw in the movie when it came out in '87. So now let's get to the repair chair and see what we got there. All right, looking at this repair chair and seeing what we got coming from the movie, I think this I think this thing is actually phenomenal. It really is cool. It was not some really high-tech looking thing in the movie itself, but this chair does have quite a bit of articulation. So we do have swivels on some of the monitors. This is the vitals monitors, and over here you can see what it's a different camera angle for Robocop. In fact, the particular picture they have on there is one that you can see in the movie. So you can see this Robocop face, and so this is something that they had in the movie itself, which is actually pretty cool. A lot of the details are exactly the same, like these perforated armrests, and then you also have the same on the footrest. But this thing swivels around, the chair moves, and moves to this position because oftentimes they were wheeling him around. This actually has working casters, and so, you know, it gets very pushed, so you can see that. But oftentimes when he was just in the lab, in the chair, they would have the chair turned sideways so they could kind of monitor his vitals. So I'm telling you, the chair looks really cool. I'm really digging what this looks like. It's got this sort of up and down headrest. So a lot of movement in the chair itself. As far as moving pieces, these arm pieces slide back and forth on these rails. It's everything similar to how this thing would have moved in the movie. So let's go ahead and put Robocop in here and kind of make our final judgment on this particular figure. All right, so we have him in the chair and you can see what this looks like. I'm going to tell you there's a little bit of disappointment in that he doesn't seem to snug in this chair quite like I would have liked him to. His legs, so his knees kind of splay out quite a bit. We can't really push them together any further than what they are here. So it makes it kind of difficult to put him in the chair. Once he's in, it's okay. And I'm looking at it on the screen, it looks pretty decent. But as you can see, his knees coming this far apart without the ability to kind of push them together a little bit more, or maybe just sort of straighten them up. And of course that is due to the fact that we have all this plastic here. I can't really push these together without kind of making him stand. And so I can't have him in a seated, like a 90-degree position without his legs, his knees coming quite a bit forward, or splaying out rather. And so also, given the fact that they're kind of in this almost, you know, crisscross position if you're sitting on the floor, I don't know, it just makes it look a little less realistic as he's sitting in the chair, because I want him to be able to sit in the chair and kind of lean back, because there's supposed to be a connection point here on his head as it goes into the computer so they can monitor all his vitals. But then as I'm trying to put his feet down on this little footrest, I mean, it looks pretty decent. I'm not going to be, you know, too angry about it, but as far as how this looks, I think you can see that this situation is a little bit disappointing that we can't really put that together. All in all, I love Robocop the movie. I love this particular set, so I'm not going to complain a whole lot. Just really wish we could have done something more with how we can sit in the chair. You know, all in all, I am really happy with this particular action figure and its accessories that it comes with. So a couple minor little complaints, nothing too huge. It does still work as it is, even though his legs don't move quite like I want him to. I always appreciate NECA's attention to detail as they are crafting these figures. So, you know, for my first Robocop figure, I am super excited about it. I think this looks really cool on display. Can definitely see us putting him in that chain link cage somehow, and maybe putting this in a diorama. I think that would look really cool, either with his shielded face or the Peter Weller sculpt head that they have. So either way, I think it's great. I absolutely enjoy it, love making it part of my collection. And so if you like it, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate you guys and all the positivity you continue to send my way. Thank you so much for watching Figure It Out.